All right, Mick, you have to fire one member of the Raw roster. Emma. Or Emelina. Whichever one she is, I'm firing her. Oh. Yeah, that works. What's up? I'm Pete Last Guy, and this is Raw Emotion, where I take a look at this week's Monday Night Raw, and I tell you a little bit about what I think and a lot about how I feel. And this episode continued on the march down to Wrestlemania. Yes, I intended that pun, and no, I'm not sorry. First thing we see is a Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman promo, but it's not really much to speak of. They come down to the ring, it's basically Paul Heyman. Hi, I'm Paul Heyman, that's Brock Lesnar, you're Goldberg, we're gonna beat you, we have somewhere to be. Fight! This one was based around the phrase, down goes Goldberg, from the thing that happened last week. It was basically just them gloating, well, him gloating, Paul Heyman gloating on behalf of his client. And, of course, promising he's going to beat him at WrestleMania, hyping that up, and then just leaving. So not much to speak of, kind of a time filler, just a reminder, hey, this angle's still happening. Don't forget, nobody forgot. No one is forgetting about this, but whatever. Then we get a backstage segment between Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, where she steals Brian Kendrick's gimmick with the lessons and decides, I'm gonna help teach you some lessons, Mick, as a business person. And the first one is gonna be, I'm gonna need you to, by the end of tonight, fire one member of the Raw roster. And like I mentioned in the opening, he probably just could have fired Emma and avoided everything that happened at the end of the episode, but it's wrestling. There's disbelief suspended. But the first actual match of the evening was barely a match at all. It was a squash of sorts between Dana Brooke and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks takes care of Dana Brooke pretty quickly, rolls her up, kicks the tights, still with the heel stuff, doing that slow burn heel turn that they've been doing with her, and then Dana is chewed out by Charlotte afterwards, because the whole point of this match was for Dana to incapacitate Sasha so she couldn't be part of WrestleMania, but she failed. Charlotte is angry, she's chewing her out on the microphone, and then they fight! And they fight! Dana Brooke has had enough! And then she turns on Charlotte, and this is how good Charlotte is. The crowd was chanting Dana by the end. Like, that's how good of a heel Charlotte is. Is it just because Dana is now turned on Charlotte, there's so much heat on that end that now there's a pop for Dana, who previously I don't think the fans could have possibly cared less about, really. Which has been kind of disappointing, because I think of Dana as kind of very similar to Roman Reigns in that she actually has, potential to be really good, but she's booked very poorly. I think this might be the start of something much more interesting for Dana Brooke. The crowd sure seems into it. I'm into it. Let's see it happen. Let's break her away, get her into some singles action, make her a force to be reckoned with, book her well, and maybe something really cool could come of it. Really strengthen and deepen the Raw ladies roster a little bit. I think this could be great. Now to Cruiserweight Corner for just a quick little bit of stuff here, because there wasn't a whole lot of Cruiserweight drama today. There were two matches. There was the Akira Tozawa / TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick / Tony Nese. Pretty solid tag team cruiserweight match. Not a whole lot to say about it. It helped to build the feud between Kendrick and Tozawa a little bit, because Tozawa throughout the match, even if Brian Kendrick was not the legal man, Tozawa would take every opportunity he could to go over the ropes of the ring apron and just punish Brian Kendrick, and that may have caused too much distraction, because it ended up, the match went to Nese, actually. Tony Nese rolled up TJ Perkins for the win, grabbing the tights as well. So that's two matches in a row, by the way, where the win comes from a dirty tights grab. And our other cruiserweight match was Austin Aries' Raw roster debut, I believe, or his cruiserweight debut, anyway, versus Ariya Daivari, and it was mostly just to showcase, I think, Austin Aries as a wrestler, so that we could get even more hyped for him versus Neville, who, we cut to watching these matches as they were playing out, because this is going to have something to do with who gets to face him for the championship at WrestleMania. Anyway, it's obviously going to be Austin Aries, because they've been building that feud up for a while, and he's great. He's fantastic. It's gotta be Aries. I'm excited for this push, but that was all the cruiserweight stuff this week, so moving on. But now, before I mentioned that Michael Cole, oh man, Michael, and that's in that tag team cruiserweight match, here's a couple of things that he said. Let me see. First of all, ahem. Right to the face of Kendrick goes Kendrick. Kendrick never hit himself in the face during that match, Michael. That's not what happened. And another one, he calls TJ Perkins the Flim Flam Flash. That's, and he was corrected by Corey, that's the Phil Am Flash. Michael, it's Filipino-American, Phil Am Flash. It's becoming very, very obvious that you're reading off a script because you obviously just read that wrong. Maggle. Okay, now we're moving on for real. We're going to talk about Kevin Owens. He comes out and does that single spotlight thing in the middle of the ring that he did, shortly after the Festival of Friendship. But he's standing this time. He gives a promo before his match about how not only was he never Chris Jericho's real best friend, Chris Jericho was never truly his best friend. He just wanted to get close to my Universal title. I gotta stop doing that. And he just wanted to get close to the Universal title, yada, yada, yada. And he's basically justifying himself, basically saying, I'm gonna, beat him up, I'm gonna take his US title. And he jumps in on the lessons bit, too. We've had Steph teaching lessons, we've had Brian Kendrick teaching lessons, and now we've got Kevin Owens teaching a lesson that's who needs best friends when you have a destroyer. Which leads us into the tag team of KO and Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens' two ex-best friends, Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho. Just picture that match for a second. If you want my opinion on how that match goes, ask yourself, how would that match go? Would that possibly be a good match? Would it be friggin' amazing? Would it be just probably the match of the night? Yes, it was a good match. What am I gonna go into details on this? It's fantastic. Look at these four dudes. Come on. But this match doesn't even end up with a winner, though, because Kevin Owens just cannot stop beating up Sami. He can't stop so badly that he gets himself disqualified. And then he's beating him up some more, and then Chris Jericho comes in to save Sami, and then Joe comes back in, and then they've got Jericho, and Joe holds him, and Kevin Owens beats him up, power bombs him, and then there you go. That's the match. It's over. Good to watch. No conclusive ending, but I didn't need one. It's that good. New Day got their own talk show segment because that's what we've really been missing these days, is the talk show segments. No, we haven't been missing them. I'm glad there's less of them. But sure, let's give New Day their New Day talk. And really, this segment only existed for two purposes. They had Big Show on as a guest. He was there to A, announce that he was going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, because Shaq pulled out of their match. They didn't mention that on TV, but that's why, probably, I think. Shaq is probably going through some health things. I haven't Googled it, but it's probably what's happening. And two, to plug their Jetsons crossover cartoon movie. That was pretty much what this segment was for. Okay. Oh wait, no, I forgot. There's one more thing that this segment was supposed to do, and it was supposed to set up a match for later in the evening, because at the end of the segment, Titus O'Neil comes in, and it does what he does. He Tituses the whole place up, and it's this whole, why this segment? Why? But before the segment mercifully ends, we have somebody else jumping in on the lessons thing. Why? Why is everybody so focused on lessons today? But Xavier Woods says, well, that's the lesson here, is that Titus Tight Pants ruins everything. And yeah, you're right, but also, why did this segment have to happen? Stupid! Hey, did you want another match that ended inconclusively? Well, cool, cause you're getting one! We jump over to the tag team division where Cesaro and Sheamus face Enzo and Cass to figure out who is going to go against Gallows and Anderson for the tag team title at Wrestlemania. And by the end of the match, Gallows and Anderson themselves have come in and started attacking the competitors, and ding ding ding, match is over inconclusively, which, leads to a backstage segment where Mick Foley tells them, oh, you wanted no competitors? Well, fine, you're getting more, and they're all gonna be in it. Everyone, triple threat for the title. Yeah, holla holla. I mean, have a nice day. Whatever. Which makes no sense, by the way, because if you watched the show, which I did, you would have noticed that when Gallows and Anderson came to the ring, the first people they attacked were Enzo and Cass. Meaning that Enzo and Cass's opponents would have, under normal circumstances, been disqualified, meaning that Enzo and Cass won that match and that they get to be in the match at WrestleMania. But apparently that's not how the rules work today. Maybe they'll work that way next week. Who knows? It's just kind of openly irritating. But I can't complain too much. Good match, and I love all of the people involved. So, it's just so many disqualifications and inconclusive endings on this episode of Raw, and I don't particularly care for that, personally. But I'm conflicted. The next match was weird, right? Because it was Jinder Mahal who was backstage, demanding, singles matches, and got put in a match with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal, and you're like, okay, so is this going to be a squash? Not quite a squash, actually, but it did only serve to further the feud between Roman and The Undertaker, because halfway through the match, there's the bong, and Roman's like, what? And he gets attacked by Jinder and almost loses the match. Of course, he doesn't lose the match, because do you think Vince would let Roman lose to Jinder? Do you really? But after that, he gets the mic and he calls up The Undertaker and he come out here, fight me like a man. Whoa, nope, no Undertaker, you get HBK. Because we're in the lead up to a big pay-per-view and it's about time that we see him. That's what he does. But HBK makes his entrance and tells Roman Reigns, hey, look, you're not ready. You're letting him get in your head. You're unfocused, okay? He's gonna eat you alive if you go in like this. And Roman Reigns is really acting a little too big for his tack vest, if you ask me. Talks about how Undertaker retired you, with all due respect, and I'm gonna be the one to retire him. Hooah, believe that. Catchphrases. And HBK is this kid just trying to tell him, like, look, man, I'm not here to, hate on you, I'm on your side, which gets so many boos. The crowd is booing HBK just because he said he's on Roman's side. And funny enough, one of the things he said is, I know what it's like to have people, even though they don't want to talk about it, secretly hate you. I don't think Shawn Michaels knows what the word secretly means. I don't, because you're right there. They're very loud about how they hate him. They're very loud. You're hearing it right now. Come on. But hopefully, this leads to the long-awaited, long-asked-for Roman Reigns heel turn. He is acting pretty heelish, and when you set yourself against both HBK and The Undertaker, that's how you set yourself up for a heel turn, alright? So, I don't know, maybe this means he beats the... Maybe this means he beats the... Maybe this means he beats The Undertaker at Wrestlemania, I don't know, I hope not, okay? Maybe he does, but I hope not. Either way, heel turn, incoming, hopefully. We'll see. But he's on his way out, and he kind of looks back to HBK to give that little, Roman smirk. Yeah, wink, suffering succotash. Huh? Strowman. For no real reason either. He doesn't say anything afterward. I mean, he yells at HBK like, if I wanted to do that to you, I would have. But then nothing else comes of it. It was just, okay, we're just gonna let him leave? Nah? Gonna have Strowman hit him? Sure, cool. Alright. Segment over. Next. Big Show had a match against Titus O'Neil. He chokeslammed him 3 times. That's all. And in the last real match of the night, we get Bayley, the women's champion, versus Nia Jax. And pretty good. Honestly, another pretty good match. Some real smart-looking wrestling from Bayley. She targeted Nia's legs at one point. I enjoyed the ring psychology of this match. It didn't last super long. And eventually, the finish, again, what is it with this week and these finishes? But Nia gets DQ'd because she's got Bayley on the ropes and just won't stop attacking her, so she gets herself disqualified. Okay. And then after the disqualification, she beats her up some more because that's what she does. And hauls her out of the ring, does that ragdoll thing in the barricade, which is admittedly pretty sweet. But again, I would have just liked a couple more real wins or real losses. It felt like they really didn't want to commit to making anybody look too strong or too weak on this episode in the build-up to WrestleMania, I guess. So they just kind of wishy-washied every finish. So, I get it, but I think there was a better way to execute that. And the last segment of the evening, everything comes to a head with the Mick versus Steph thing. Who's Mick gonna fire? He's been thinking about it all night. He comes out to the ring and he announces to Steph that he's gonna fire Steph! What? Okay. And he goes off on her, he chews her out, she tries to fire back at him, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna be silenced. And then, of course, cue Triple H's music. He comes down and gets really mean with Mick, and he says some very, very mean things. Obviously, it's wrestling. I'm sure they agreed to most, if not all of this beforehand, because these two dudes, in actual life, have the utmost respect for each other, but whoa, it got ugly. Oh, man. I'm not going to run it all down because I wouldn't do it justice, but just understand that Triple H is still so good at promos. He's still such a good talker. And man, he makes you hate him. Really makes you hate him by the end. He tells Mick to get out of my ring, and Mick slowly walks over to the corner. Just kind of stands there for a while, and the camera pans away from him, but you know something is going on because Steph starts talking, and then suddenly there's this huge pop. And you're like, this is not for Steph. Mick is doing something over there. What is he doing? Well, you see, Triple H realizes that Mick is just standing in the corner. He's like, oh, okay, Steph, you keep talking. I'm gonna, hey, what's going on over here? Bam, you got Socko'd. Oh, yeah, I think the last time we saw Socko was at last year's Wrestlemania, right? When Mick Foley came out with, HBK and Stone Cold, and he busted out Socko on, I don't know, whatever jobbers they went in there and squashed it. Whatever it was fun. But we gotta see Socko again, but as he's getting Triple H, Steph comes behind and low blows him, and it's super sad. He's on the ground all sad and old and broken, and Triple H looks like he's gonna go over there and beat him up some more. Steph literally yells at him, "Rip his hip off!" or something like that. Off? Can you rip a hip off? That's not out maybe, but off. And before he gets to him though, boom, Seth Rollins' music. And he comes out with the crutch. He's hobbling, stare down for a minute, and then and then, fight! Seth runs in, starts beating up Triple H. He's dominating Triple H. He's getting him. Knocks him out of the ring. Triple H grabs the crutch. Seth drops it, runs in, and then bends the crutch over Seth's previously re-injured knee, which, I have no inside track on, where Seth's recovery is at, or what that crutch was made of, if it was a prop crutch or something. But just watching that happen and knowing what we already did know, supposedly, about his knee injury, that was brutal to see that happen. To see Triple H bend that crutch over his knee twice, by the way. He bends it over his knee and attacks that knee and puts him in a hold, and then he gets at him again with the crutch, and it's just gnarly. And so the episode ends with Triple H and Steph standing tall. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for WrestleMania. This was, again, a good episode. Uneven, great matches and the things surrounding the matches, not a lot of satisfying finishes. I felt like I was left wanting more out of the episode. Not in the good way, in that ooh, I want more, so I'm gonna tune in next week. I mean, I'm still gonna tune in next week, I gotta do these. But in the way that I wasn't quite satisfied with the episode itself. All that aside, though, there was a lot of good stuff. Like I said earlier, I'm conflicted about this episode. I think overall I enjoyed it. Ended on a pretty good note, so we're gonna go with good. Good episode of Raw. But what did you think? Hit up those comments and go ahead and tell me what you think some of your WrestleMania predictions are. Some wins, some losses, some surprise appearances, some kind of crazy stuff that you think might go down. Leave those down there in the comments. Give the video a like, please. Share it with people that you know who like wrestling, and hit that subscribe button as well for more weekly wrestling content. Yeah, we do this pretty much every week, with varying degrees of success. But that's all. Don't forget to check out Smacktivism. We're going to have a link for that one over here, actually, in a second. And check out the last episode of Raw Emotion. That's going to end up over here. But for now, I'm Pete, Last Guy. You've been a delight. This match is over. In 1, 2. That was the most awkward count ever. What's up? I'm Pete, Last Guy, and this is Raw Emotion, and look at that, another haircut. I do that sometimes. And he gives a promo before his match about, excuse me.